Welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. Yes, we are. We are those wild and crazy Fanatical Elfz. We're here with the gang. Everyone is here, it seems like. My gosh, we're coming out of the woodwork. We got Steve, we got Lou, we got Jarrell, and we got Sam. And we are the Fanatical Elfz Network, part of Fans First Sports Network. Thank you for being here and tuning in and seeing our pretty faces on this Thursday night. I'm down in Columbus. We're getting a rainstorm, so if I get disconnected, it's Lou's fault.
I get blamed for everything.
Yes, you do. Hey, welcome everybody. Lou, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. Doing great. Thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Well, I've been running around and, I'm glad to be here with all of you talking Cleveland Browns. Boy, there's been a lot of Cleveland news. We'll get to some of that other stuff maybe later. Sam, how you doing?
Good. I'm in the home of the three best teams in their sports right now. Rangers won the World Series. Stars are in the NHL Western Conference Finals, and so are the Mavs. So
yeah,
out of the four major sports, we're winning three of them, so I'm happy.
Excellent. Jarrell.
Howdy.
You're bringing your gear. You bring your stocking cap. Is it cold there? You said something about the air conditioning.
It's cold in here, but it's hot outside, so I got to keep it blasted. Otherwise, I'll go crazy in here. So.
We got Sherry. Thank you, Sherry.
We
do rule.
The
Lou
nerd
does not.
emoji.
The rest of us do, but that's because I'm just giving Lou a hard time because I haven't seen him all week. And Jarrell, thanks for bringing your show, the Dog Food Radio Show. Awesome stuff. Sam had his Browns backers show recently. Lou's bringing his Browns talk, Burning River Browns talk every day, and awesome stuff there. And Steve, we got your Dog Pound South. How are you doing tonight?
Awesome.
Excellent.
Doing well. Like Jarrell
new?
says, it's a little hot down here in Nashville. Spring lasted that much. It's supposed to cool off next week, I hope. It's way too early for it to hit 90. May is way too early.
How
Don't worry, it hit 90 like 3 weeks ago here.
What's the locust report down there?
Oh, the cicadas?
The cicadas. Yeah, not locusts.
They're really not that bad over here where I live. I mean, they're not as loud as I thought. I've seen them 10 times as bad. And I've got one of their favorite trees in my front yard. They love hickory, oak, and maple, and I got a 65-foot maple in my front yard. When they first came up, I had to blow off the front of my house and my post to get rid of all the shells and the ones that were sticking and the dead ones on the front porch. But they're not that bad. I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
So this week, the Browns are at it at OTAs. Can somebody tell me what OTA stands for?
Organized team activities.
Thank you. I always get that wrong.
Let's go play top golf, as the Cowboys call it.
No wonder they don't make the playoffs.
The Browns are going to be playing those Cowboys. Want to know, just get your takes on this week. I know some of you were talking off air about what you've been hearing and seeing. Yeah, Lou?
I'm interested in what Steve was talking about because he said for the first time it's been a long time, he did not hear Coach speak from Kevin Stefanski. What did he say, Steve?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they asked him yesterday how Deshaun looks, and he goes, he looks really good. He looks like Deshaun Watson. I mean, he looks normal. And I'm kind of like, wait a minute, aren't you supposed to say he's where he's supposed to be, and we're taking it easy on him, and we've got him, on a certain program, and the coach speak. But God, it caught me by a little honesty there. I think Kevin is getting excited about this season.
I actually was on a show yesterday, my dog's podcast.
Yeah.
For throughout
My dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, with Thorell, and he was him and I. We had because when we were at the Top Dog tailgate, we sat down and we talked about like the offense and the direction it's going to go and what's going to happen. And I after talking to him, I think Stefanski's not going to be calling the plays. I think Dorsey.
Oh, I know that.
You know that?
I know it. Yeah,
I think Stefanski's going to kind of step back and just kind of be a CEO type of head coach. But go ahead. You agree? Anybody else?
Yeah, I agree, because that little bit of honesty kind of reaffirmed to me. I had been hearing that he is going to let Ken Dorsey run the show, and then they had Jake Trotter on the radio up there today, and he confirmed it. He said, I think, they're not have made an official announcement, but everything's pointing towards Ken Dorsey running the show. So
that's what you hired him for, so why not?
Yeah, that's what you hired him for.
It's been debated for a long time now. I mean, ever since Kevin's stepped foot on this team, he's finally got his defensive guy. And now maybe they've got their offensive guy. No, I heard your podcast a little bit, Steve, earlier when you were talking about Ken Dorsey this week. Jarrell, do you agree with what Lou and Steve are saying?
I think so. I think, like Lou said, you hired him to come and do this job. I've actually been going and watching the 2019 Deshaun Watson, because that's when they went 11-6, and just trying to look. So I would watch games 1, 2, and 3. I think I watched the first 3 games in 19, and then I watched the first 3 games in Cleveland. Okay. And you could tell it's just the timing, it's the anticipation. In Houston, it was 1, 2, 3, it was out. It was 1, it was out. So it's like, and even in the Titans game, you could see that it was getting to that point. Then he got hurt. Yeah. So I think it's just a matter of allowing him to get that feel, get that pulse for, okay, the pocket's breaking down. I'm not going to bail out because I got time. And I think with putting him in an offense that he can run in his sleep, if Kevin Stefanski is saying that, it must be what he's saying. So.
Well, it certainly feels like there's so much more confidence right now going into this season, and we're all excited here. We're fans like you guys who are tuning in and watching us. By the way, we are live right now on the X, on YouTube, on Facebook. Follow us, please subscribe. I know I hear Lou every morning, and I hear everybody else talking about subscribe to us. No, we love the fact. And by the way, we earn a lot of pennies here. And we appreciate that, and our downloads are picking up because you guys are subscribing to us on Apple, on Spotify, and so you'll never miss a show. Every morning, I turn on my phone, and there's Lou's Burning River Browns podcast on my Apple podcast, ready to come on. So please share this with your friends, share it with family, the Browns fans. Every day I talk to somebody new and I say, hey, we got this Fanatical Elfz network, and I'm talking about retiring, and my colleagues are like, well, you can go do your podcasting full time. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna make lots of money. So but we just love talking Brownies, talking Cleveland. And okay, so OTA, so we the Deshaun Watson, this whole thing, watching him and all the euphoria. We talk about this every year. It's 3.5 months out, and you get to see him throwing the ball, and everybody. It's fun to see all the reactions on social media, the overreactions. Oh gosh, there he is throwing a pass. Oh, it was completed. And I'm like, okay. So, what are you looking for? I guess that's what I want to know. What are you all looking for specifically in these like OTAs and in these early practice sessions?
Who's going to go first?
You can go first.
I'm watching like today. There was a nice little video, so you could see his foot, the way he's planning and his footwork, which I like.
Yeah.
And I'm watching his follow through, see if it's smooth. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did have shoulder surgery, so I want to watch that. If the guy catches it or not, that really doesn't matter. But if he's on target, that's nice. What I saw, he's throwing rather well. So Jameis Winston also got a nice little touch on the ball. Man, he sure does. And Tyler Huntley is doing what he always did against the Cleveland Browns. He's throwing interceptions.
That's He threw one the other day, and I know people were talking about. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, the one of the new rookie linebacker Watson.
Yes,
intercepted him in the end zone. Somebody did today or the other day. So,
well,
you just want to look at some things. And
Donovan Peoples-Jones used to play for the Browns, and every year it seemed like this time of year and getting into the training camp, Donovan Peoples-Jones was like the greatest wide receiver of all time in Cleveland. But it was in, training camp. And I always just remember how people would talk about that and I think he was a really good wide receiver, but just the overemphasis on how some just go sort of.
Well, last year it was Elijah Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody went gaga over Elijah Moore, and then they didn't use him right the first part of the season.
Yeah. Sam, what are you looking for? I mean, I know, Sam, you're our younger viewer here. What are you looking at or have you been able to watch some of these practices or read about them?
I've watched a few. Yes, I'm looking at his arm and making sure his shoulder looks well. But the problem with OTAs and these smaller camps is the players don't exactly try a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like they do give it that they still play and they still try, but it's nowhere near real action. And I feel like that kind of takes away from some of the stuff you see. But I still feel like it's definitely important to see how his shoulder's doing, see his follow through, see his action, how he's throwing the ball, how he's moving, especially how he's moving the arm during just existence, and just making sure his shoulder is good, because a shoulder surgery for a position where you use that shoulder a lot is very important to see how it's going and how good he's looking right now.
Yeah. Other players that we've noted a couple of them already. One guy that I saw, the highlight for me just so far, just the silly part, Zadarius Smith being silly. I don't know if anybody's seen some of those videos, him dancing around and, being happy to be back here. And so are there anybody else, Lou or Jarrell, that you've noted?
Go ahead, Jarrell.
No, I was going to touch on your question, which you kind of alluded to it, John, about OTAs and,
yes.
Like the defense. Nobody talked about the defense from what I remember going into the season, and then they were like dominant. So it's like whatever the offense does on camera or what they show, they're probably not even showing a lot because they know it's being recorded. Mm-hmm. I got to see it in the game. Mm-hmm. Until I see it in the game, I can't really get excited because I've been waiting for 2-3 years for this offense to, get vertical, get explosive.
So does it do you a disservice by watching the 2019 Houston Texans?
A little bit, because DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller, it was like they were just running the spots and they were open like that. He was hiking the ball and he was getting them the ball. But it seems like in 23, he's back there waiting for people to get him. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's the route. I don't know if that's the scheme. I don't know what that is. But I'm not going to get excited until I see one step drop and it's out. And it's like, oh, that look crisp. That look fast.
Yes. That's a really interesting take. No, I like that because I think that's really because he's had a really impressive start to his career. Mm-hmm. And he in that 2019 season, they didn't have a winning record, right? They went
11-6 in 2019.
Oh, 2019 they did. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Was it 2020 then that they fell off?
The next year, yeah.
Okay.
They only won 4 games.
What season was it that was that the same year that they went to the playoff game and got up big on the Chiefs and then blew it?
Yep.
I still can't believe, but talking about being Browns fans, that was for Houston fans. That must have just been I think they were up 24-0 or something in that game.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're up by like 21 points. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly.
Man,
and just kind of answer what your question was. I just was glad to see him throwing and glad to see that the form looked good, the footwork looked good. Yeah, I understand he's still rehabbing. So, and the fact that the thing I was looking for the most, I was impressed with the most, was the amount of attendance at voluntary OTAs.
Yeah,
it's true.
That really impressed me.
Yeah,
I mean, Bitonio and Myles Garrett weren't there, but they never come to those.
Right,
and they're more veteran guys, and it's not a big deal, but. Absolutely. That's the thing that I was impressed with.
Let me ask you, I know, Lou, you talked a little bit, I think, about Nick Chubb. I mean, we're all big Nick Chubb fans. And I know some of you were talking about some stuff off camera before we started. I'm still one of those guys that still thinks somehow, and I know it's not going to happen, but I'm dreaming here. But I just think that Nick Chubb is just such a unique player that it would not surprise me if he's ready to be on that field or leading the charge. I don't know if that means is it automatic that he's not coming back for 6 weeks? I mean, is that what we're saying, or am I dreaming here?
He goes on the PUP list. That's only 4 weeks.
Okay.
So that's what I think they're planning for.
Okay.
They don't want to push him. I mean, they know the value of Nick Chubb. And they know the value of Nick Chubb in November and December.
Okay.
So, yeah,
do you think
I
Nick
wouldn't
Chubb,
push it if I were them.
Do you think Nick Chubb himself, though, wants to be out there? And do you think that he should have some say in, like, if he wants to get out there in week 1 and he's ready? The thing is, like, he's superhuman, man. I just feel like he's just like a different type of player. And I don't know.
Unfortunately, the last time that the medical staff listened to a player who really wanted to play was Baker Mayfield telling the medical staff, "I'm fine," and he wasn't. No, so I don't think they're going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, good point. Good point, Steve. I think they're going to follow the advice of the medical staff and the doctors. And
okay,
I would say this: the thing to look for. You saw videos of him running. You see where the rehab is going. Yeah. If you see videos of him squatting like 500 pounds, he's pretty close to coming back.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
once he hits that level.
Yeah, he rebuild that lower body strength because he hasn't used it so long. He has to get that back up to speed. But I think he should be good.
Okay. Well, I'm dreaming. I know it's just such heartache. Everyone has just missed Nick Chubb so much. I think it's just, then you think about all the time, but he was a serious injury that he sustained. I get that. I think it's just, new season, new energy, and just having him being part of the team from the get-go would even energize this fan base even more. I know that we would all be, nervous as hell when he takes that first snap or whenever that is. But, boy, just that moment in time was a year ago. I mean, or not quite that long ago, but when he went down, I think all of us here, my heart sank. I mean, I think every Cleveland fan, it just was like,
it rattled everybody that game, including the team, including the coaches. It just, he had 60 yards rushing in the first quarter.
Yeah, he was slicing. I was just watching that game the other night. He was if he didn't get hurt, they win that game.
Oh, yes. It was a blow. It would have been a blowout. It wouldn't even have been close.
Yep. He's had some really good games against Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh is sort of like, it kind of reminds me of the old Dave Logan. Dave Logan, back in the day, used to. Do you remember Dave Logan, Lou?
I remember Dave Logan.
Yeah. Jarrell, do you remember Dave Logan? He was our wide receiver. He would save his best games. Steve, remember that against Pittsburgh? His best games are against the Squealers.
Already had kid days, man.
Yeah.
He was one of 2 players in the NFL. Dave Winfield was the baseball player that was drafted by 3 different professional teams. Dave Logan was drafted by an ABA basketball team, a baseball team, and the Browns.
They all wanted him.
He went to Colorado.
Colorado, okay.
Yeah, he did color until he retired for the Buffalo. So
let's pause for a quick break here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. We are part of Fans First Sports Network. We'll be right back. And we're back. Yeah, you can hear the wind blowing and the rain out here.
My fan?
And your fan. We hear Lou's fan. That's all good.
It just gets stuffy in here when I close the door.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear my fan? Okay.
Nah.
All right. Sometimes it happens, but
we've talked about the schedule. You've looked at it a little bit more at length. I know I was looking at it the other day on the calendar and kind of breaking it down so that I can know when my season tickets, when I'll be going up to Cleveland and all that fun stuff. And Laura, my wife, and I are going to go up to that opening game against the Cowboys. Looking forward to that. And then week 3, they come back and play another home game against the Giants. Then they get this stretch of 3 away games in a row.
3 away games, 3 home games.
Yeah, so they come back and they start playing at the end, or no, the latter part of November into the first part of December.
They have a bye week 10 and then the final 8 games.
Yeah, and we get all those primetime games in that latter part too. Anything else jump out at you? I mean, I think it's really an interesting schedule. There's some real. I think we can really break it down eventually when we start looking at it. And I think the team. I wonder how they're going to do it.
I think 2 games will get flexed.
Yeah,
I think the Kansas City game at home and the last game of the season against Baltimore will be flexed because I think the last game of the season will probably be for the AFC North title.
So you mean they'll make it a primetime game?
Yep. Probably go to Sunday night.
Whoo, boy.
Yeah, that's
you get the feeling that everybody in the nation will be kind of tired of seeing the Cleveland Browns on primetime.
Well, you know what? We won't be. So
unlike the Jets, who have already got 6 games in primetime.
It's interesting that they're really putting them on there. Yeah, Steve?
Yeah, I look at it like I think of last year where they gave them the week 5 bye and they made it kind of tough. First 8 games, and the NFL was kind of saying to the Browns, well, sink or swim, and they went 5-3 within the first 8 games with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And looking at the last 8 games where you got the 4 prime times, you got 5 road games, 3 home games, 4 divisional games, 2 mini buys and 2 short weeks. Mm-hmm. I think the NFL is telling Cleveland Browns it's sink or swim in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. So let's see what they can do.
Well, Pittsburgh's got it tougher, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they do. They don't play their first divisional game till week 11. So
when you're looking at the schedule, I don't have it in front of me, but isn't there like a Thursday night game late in the year, and then they don't play till the following Sunday? So like another, like you said, is that a mini
10 day off between the Bengals, 10 day off between the Bengals and the Dolphins, and 11 days off between the Steelers Thursday night and the Broncos Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yep. They got to go out to play Denver on a Monday night.
Yep.
Is that?
Yep.
That's really toward the end of the season, right? Like
week 12 Steelers, week 13 at Broncos. Then they come back home and play the Steelers again.
Any of you going to be attending the ESPN Cleveland Las Vegas trip that or through that radio station? I saw that the Browns are advertising that. Did you guys see that? You can do like a full, they got tickets, airline and everything. Go out there to Vegas for the Brownies game.
I looked at the ticket prices. They $400-$500. I don't know about that.
I'll be fine. I can watch it at home.
I'm unusual. I really have no desire to go to Las Vegas.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, my wife and I used to go to the Bahamas all the time, and they had a casino next door, and we'd go play a little bit and sit on a bar that overlooked the gaming area and just had a cocktail and watch people lose their money.
Sam, are you going to come to Cleveland to watch when the Cowboys play?
Not the Cowboys. It's going to be too expensive, just tickets, because of just the Cowboys' existence. We'll see if I'm able to make it out or not.
Hey, do you guys, Jarrell or Lou or Steve, do you remember back? This is way back in the day. I know I'm going back in time again, but back in the early mid 80s when the Browns were getting pretty good, the Cowboys came to town. It was a Monday night game, I believe. Do you remember that? I have a program or something from that. They came. It was against Bernie. I remember Bernie was the quarterback for the Brownies. I'll have to go back and look that up. But I just remember that game being a big deal. It's the Cowboys don't come to Cleveland very often, right? So
not often.
When was the last? Anybody know when the last time the Cowboys came to Cleveland? We'll have to find that out.
I'm thinking 2008 home opener, and they beat us.
Oh, 2008. Who was quarterbacking the Brownies?
That was, I would want to say it was Derek Anderson, and Wade Phillips was the coach, and we looked terrible. We had high expectations because we went 10-6 the year before.
Yeah.
So many times there was plays where we couldn't get any pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that game. Let me jump back into the AFC North race real quick. I know some people were talking today on the national media about Lamar Jackson.
It was 2016.
Oh,
was it?
And the Browns won. The Browns won 35-10.
Oh,
whoa!
2016. Really? So when was that? Like,
no.
We lost. That was the 1-31 years. We 2 years we only won one game, and that was San Diego.
Oh, they've played the Cowboys 32 times since 1960.
32
There's a nice
times.
Little fun fact for you.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah, right.
What's our record against them then? 32 times. Did it say there?
I don't know.
All right, let me ask you this while we go jump back to the AFC North. I want to Lamar Jackson. Some people were talking today on the national media about how Lamar's supposedly lost weight. He's trying to get back thinner and fitter and maybe run more. What are you anticipating?
What, he can like break his leg in week 8 instead of 6?
Are we scared of Lamar, or we don't care anymore because he can just run to the bathroom, and we can just we don't. Are we worried about Baltimore?
No, if Deshaun Watson plays, you shouldn't. He was down 14 after a horrendous start. I don't think it really matters against any AFC North team with a solid defense and a healthy Deshaun Watson and a healthy Chubb, because you still haven't seen that yet. So if you get divisional games with healthy running back, healthy quarterback, should be nothing to fear. It should really be ass whippings. Because
and you know what, Terrell, we're more than a solid defense. I think
my bad. I apologize.
I think we're just going a little bit higher. But on that note, guys, I got to take off. I got a show to do in 10 minutes. So
enjoy enjoy. Good job. Thank you for everything, Lou.
Oh, no, thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. Thank you. And you guys have a good
show.
Lou. Yeah. Bye.
See you.
In my opinion, the only thing or person that's afraid of Lamar is his ACL.
No, we've always played Baltimore pretty well, and then getting that win last year on the road. Greg Newsome gets the interception late in that game.
Yep.
I mean, there were a lot of good things that I think came out of that, and it definitely gave this team, who's coming back pretty much the same as they did a year ago, they're going to be better and stronger. And like Jarrell, you're saying, I mean, just anticipating how the offense will look this year. I think that's the biggest thing that all of us fans are. I mean, we've already seen the defense. Now it's like, can we get the offense to really click? I mean, it was clicking to the point where we won 11 games last year. I mean, we did win.
Just Watson, if he can figure it out, we're the best team in the AFC, possibly.
Exactly.
Like 2 or 3.
Yeah,
I mean, the only team that's going to be better in the AFC is the Chiefs, and they're kind of cheaters because they have the best quarterback, one of the better defenses. But like, I think we could be 2nd or 3rd place in terms of bestness.
Bestness, yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
bestness. I can see that. I mean, Buffalo, everybody agrees they're kind of going the other direction. Houston, can they maintain that type of? I mean, defensive coordinators are paid to watch tape.
Yeah,
and they figure out offenses. And Houston lost their defensive line coach, which really, who's now the defensive line coach for the Browns, who really elevated players that really didn't have career years until he was their defensive line coach.
Right.
And then out west, you're going to put your money on the Raiders, or you're going to put your money on the Chargers being good. I mean, so, in AFC South, you've got Jacksonville. What are they going to do? I mean, they're trying to keep up with the Texans, and so is Indy. So I could see that, all the guys out in Vegas are putting a little asterisk on us because of Deshaun Watson's health.
Yeah, and the thing about the Houston is they were so good because, what's the quarterback's name? I can't remember it for a second.
CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud was a rookie, and rookies are inherently unpredictable because you haven't seen them in the NFL before. And so defensive coordinators, all 31 defensive coordinators, have studied and watched and started to figure out how CJ Stroud works, how his mind works, how he plays, and he will, just because teams understand him better, get, quote, worse statistically because they understand how he plays and how he works more. And so I think that's going to be interesting for Houston because CJ Stroud's numbers are probably going to be a little worse, not by much, but a little worse because people are going to figure out how he plays and how he works.
Yeah.
Well,
and if you look at the AFC North, I mean, right now Cincinnati is a cluster, and nobody wants to admit the fact that Joe Burrow has an unusual injury for a quarterback, not ever seen before, like a Deshaun Watson. But this one's a little bit more important. It has to deal with the zip and snap he puts on the ball. You got two players who want to be traded over in Steeler land. You got Cam Hayward holding out, and you got two quarterbacks who are only going to be there 1 year, and you've got Arthur Smith, their OC. His best year came with the Titans, and who was his head coach? Mike Vrabel. So I think Vrabel might have something to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they're going to run on offense.
That's a good point.
And in Baltimore, you're going to have, like Sam said, you're going to have defensive coordinators looking at that offense that they trotted out for the first time last year. Yeah. And they're going to be dissecting it. So
who did the Browns just hired somebody else to come along?
Chris Polian.
Yes. I'm telling you, this Browns organization, they are racking up some big time, past owners, general managers, coaches. I mean, it's a juggernaut. I mean, honestly, I'd like to see a list of all the people now in the organization because, I mean, we're talking some really good
heavy hitters.
Yeah,
heavy hitters.
Deuce Staley. I just saw the interview that he did.
I heard that interview today. I'm ready to run through a wall after I heard that interview. Yeah, man, he's good.
And again, it's an organizational thing. And it's, again, you look at the foundation, you can't attract top people unless they see, okay, I need to be a part of that.
Right.
Yep.
So you can tell that really health is the main thing. If you can get a healthy Deshaun Watson, because after the Titans game, he was starting to turn the corner. He gets hurt. After the Ravens game, I think everybody was on notice. Everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets hurt again. And he's out for the season. So, I think you put people on. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
And like Jarrell, last year, I went back and looked at Deshaun Watson's games from 2018, 2019, and 2020.
Yeah.
So, and you can see where, just like Jarrell said, you put the offense that fits him, you're going to get the Deshaun Watson you want. Mm-hmm. And that's what Ken Dorsey's going to do.
Yeah.
It's that foundation. I love that word that Jarrell keeps using, foundation. I mean, that's why Zadarius Smith is back. He openly admitted it. The things that we were building, I wanted to come back. So,
yeah, Rodney McLeod too said the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
No, it's fun for the fans. We're getting more excited. We still have a long time to wait though.
Well, can we talk about the fans real quick, John?
Absolutely.
Because I get I think about it all the time that when the Browns were pretty much stolen, right, and moved to Baltimore. The Baltimore inherited a team that already had a foundation. Who's their best GM? Is Ozzie Newsome. Who was Ozzie Newsome? He was the best tight end for the Browns. So you basically took an established thing and you got to pretty much build on it. The Browns, as we kind of know them since 99, I believe technically they were an expansion team. Yes. So for 20 years of misery, you were really just trying to redo what left. And I think now you're starting to see the fruit of that. So I know there's a lot of group think where it's like, oh, well, I believe it when I see it. And it's the Steelers and it's, you can't have that energy when you go to these games because I think that's contagious. That's kind of what I talked about. And I think Juan Thornhill said that. He said when he was in Kansas City, and let's be honest, when I was a kid, Kansas City wasn't really that good. So
no. I lived there for 26 years. I went to Chiefs games when they sucked.
Exactly. So Juan Thornhill said even before they started winning Super Bowls, the mentality of the fans was like, well, we're going to win. Doesn't matter who we playing.
Yeah.
I think at some point the Cleveland fans are going to have to adopt a similar mindset, because Steve just touched on it. The Bengals are kind of going this way. The Steelers got a lot of turmoil. You really only got to worry about Baltimore, as it seems, right now. And they lost one of their best defenders in Patrick Queen.
Yes. Where did he go? Wait, where did Patrick?
Steelers.
Oh, the Squealers.
And they lost 3 of their best defensive coaches.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Jarrell, I loved your take on. I watched your show. I listened to your show too. I know you talked a little bit about that as well with the fan base, and I couldn't agree more. And that's kind of where, I mean, I think that's where we're kind of building at right now. We're all, like, some of us who have watched the team really can feel that kind of coming back a little bit. Sam, you're too young. You're experiencing this kind of for the first time, I think.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
But you're right, Gerard. I mean, when we were kids, when we watched those teams of the 80s, man, right? I mean, you knew, like, we were gonna win, or we were gonna, our nemesis back then ended up being Denver, and that was always the dreaded, 3 years in a row we played them at one point in the
3 out of 4 years.
3 out of 4 years in the AFC Championship game. And at the same time, not exactly the same time, but in that same era, a little bit later with the Cavs going to another sport. But then you had the Cavs, who got really good in the late 80s, early 90s. And who did they run into? Oh, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. So, I mean, it was just for – but the energy was always there. So it's just trying to get there again. And I think we saw so many glimpses of it this past season. We talked about, and Deshaun Watson is if he can stay healthy, I mean, you're right. I mean, this is going to be a juggernaut of a team. I mean, the game again, like we're speculating the game against the Chiefs going to be, flexed. So we can see that, because the Browns are going to be right in it, right? We all kind of think that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Hope so. Knock on wood.
Yeah. But some of those teams, but like Thornhill, that's interesting. He talks about Kansas City, because when they did get good in that stadium, if you've ever been there, and I've been there a few times now when they were good, it really is Cleveland does an amazing job, but that home field advantage that the Chiefs have in that stadium, the way that it's designed, it's even more intimidating than anything more than Cleveland. I mean, because the way the seats are and it's closer, you really, like, when you're there, it's thunderous. I mean, you can't hear yourself. It gets so, and if you're in that lower bowl of the Chiefs, it's really, really difficult for an opponent. And you look at what happened.
If the Browns can achieve what the Browns did in the late 80s, because every time you turned the TV on and it was in Municipal Stadium, you could hear just a constant, it wasn't like a buzz, it was a murmur. It was like a really loud hum sounding, and that was the crowd. You could hear it on the off the TV. That's the type of atmosphere you want to bring back to a home playoff game for the Cleveland Browns.
Well,
that buzz.
Anything? Let's wrap things up tonight. Final takes from everybody. I know we've got a lot coming up, and you guys, all your takes this week were really awesome. And just talking about Jarrell, he was talking about just those time periods and the fans, and I thought that was really great. Steve, what do you got going on this week?
Oh, by the way, the Cowboys are 13-16 versus the Cleveland Browns.
Really?
So, yeah.
Since 1960?
Since 1960.
Wow.
So, whatever that's worth. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to write a little article tomorrow for Fans First. I'm going to take a look at what Ken Dorsey did when he was quarterback coach of the Carolina Panthers the year they went to the Super Bowl and Cam Newton was MVP. And I'm going to kind of go back, because let's face facts. As Jarrell probably knows, he's watched old games of Deshaun Watson. He gets sacked a lot. He got sacked a lot in Houston. It had a lot to do with the personnel around him. His offensive line wasn't the greatest in the world. And he had some no-name running backs. He had some good ones, but, he had some other guys that nobody ever heard of. And I want to take a look at what that one season when they went 15-1, I want to look at Cam Newton's stats and compare them to Deshaun Watson's best year with the Texans, which was 2020 when he set personal and league highs and I believe yardage and touchdown passes. So
when was
just
that?
Take a quick comparison.
What season was that for the Panthers?
Oh, I can't remember. I haven't.
It was 15 or 16.
And they went to the Super Bowl and they lost. Yeah,
they were 15-1. New England Patriots.
Oh.
No, they lost to the Broncos, I thought.
Oh.
They lost to that was the Von Miller. Yeah, that was the Von Miller Super Bowl.
Broncos. That was the Super Bowl 50.
Oh, okay. So it was the Broncos. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost?
Mm-hmm.
I believe they went 15-1 that year. So
they did.
They were very, very good that year. Yeah.
That was the game Julio Jones went nuts. He went for like 300 yards. That was the only game they lost.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I just want to do a little comparison because I'm fully convinced Ken Dorsey's going to call plays, and I want to see what he does.
Yeah.
I want to have something to compare it to.
Good. Jarrell, what do you got going on this week? And what are your final takes?
I'm gonna finish watching. It's hard to do because he gets hurt in week 4 and then he comes back, so I got to kind of skip a few games. But I'm gonna keep watching some of the 2019 games and compare them to 23. But after I finish with the Watson film, I'm gonna look at Deontay Foreman. I'm gonna go back and look at some of his tape and see if it's gonna be like a Chubb, Hunt kind of 1A, 1B was like, I guess what his style is, like if he can catch out the backfield or if he's a sledgehammer.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kind of see what he's gonna look like, just to kind of get a feel for maybe how they'll spell him or how to.
You think he's gonna be the guy though?
I mean, he'll definitely be behind Chubb for sure, but I think whenever Chubb comes back, how much of a role will he have? Like,
who's the other guy? Who's the other veteran? Hines or
Nyheim Hines?
Nyheim Hines, and then you got Jerome Ford. And they still have Pierre Strong on the. And everybody's favorite preseason running back, John Kelly.
He's the best. Steve, we
can hear you loud and clear. In the league.
We can hear you loud and clear, but you're frozen. Am
I again?
No, now you're not. Back now. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
All right.
Well, we look forward to that, Jarrell. I love the fact, and this is, I know some of you who are watching us right now or listening to our podcast, these guys bring it, man. They just do so much that your ordinary Browns podcasters don't. And I listen to some other podcasters, and I like some of the other guys that I listen to, but you guys take the time and effort to go in, do your research, and figure that out. I'm superficial, and I'm just your crazy Browns fan, and I don't do any of that. I just, but I just respect the fact that you guys, and Sam, you too, you guys just do a remarkable job of really going back and studying the stuff, and you really know what you're talking about. And that's why you all who are listening, if you're a Browns fan, you got to tune us in, tell everybody else about the Fanatical Elfz, because these guys know more than I, and it's fun to listen to. So look forward to your shows this week. Sam, you got a show coming up or not? I know you were. By the way, I just want to mention this about Sam. Sam has been changing his effects and his different things, and now he looks like he's in the Phil Donahue show. He's got the mic out. He's sitting back in his chair. Sam, I love it. You look very comfortable.
I'm just kind of changing things around, figuring out what looks good and what fits, just makes it look better. I'm considering maybe trying to figure out how to put something brownie here. But we'll see. We'll see what I can do. But yeah, I'm just kind of moving things around, changing up the little stuff.
I love it. No, and I just love the whole, you're carrying the mic. I saw that on your show the other day, and I just, I respect the idea that you're trying to change things up, and it's good. It's really good. And the fun thing too, Sam, you also bring really some good insight. Doing what you do all the time. I mean, and your show's got a snappy title, Browns Breakdowns, and people are tuning in. And again, thanks everybody for watching us every week and listening to us. Our downloads are increasing again as we get closer into the season. And so if you want anything that's coming up, any breaking news, are you guys Cavs fans or not? You guys don't all follow the Cavs like I do. Or Steve, you follow them a little bit.
Oh yeah, I follow him a little bit. Yeah, he deserved to get fired.
I gave up on basketball. I can't watch it. It's hard to watch now. So,
well, the Cavs fired JB Bickerstaff earlier today, so that's always been a topic amongst Cavs fans. So they are moving on from JB. But okay, guys, thanks again for being here. Thanks again for tuning into the Fanatical Elves. We will be bringing you more shows. I've got my Johnny Cleveland show coming up probably tomorrow. And these guys will be, I think Steve's got one probably coming over the weekend. I don't know, Jarrell and Sam, what your schedule is right now, but we'll be listening to them soon. All right, folks. Goodbye. Go Browns. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Wearing Brown stuff now.
Yeah.
I love it. Go Coop. Go Coop.
Goodbye.